Hey, young girl. We are back with a new episode this week. I want to start by saying thank you to who all have been watching, listening, sharing, commenting on the podcast. We can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, right here on Instagram, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Search for Hey Young Girl. And again, thank you. So today I want to talk about how, I feel like we as human beings, once you learn something that helped you to grow in any capacity, I feel like we all should be sharing the knowledge, just even if it's just like how you live in your everyday life, you know, to be an example to, the youth or just anybody that is open to listen, you know, show just by the way that you live and the way that you are, it can be helpful to someone else to see something that is different than what their norm is every day. For an example, like if you grew up in a certain household or environment, and then you get an opportunity to maybe go to another school in another environment, or you are able to get a trip funded by something that allows you to go abroad or go to another state with your school for vacation or some type of retreat or giving back to the community. It's, usually will open up your eyes to newer things and different environments or family dynamics, and, how people live, and, what their differences in different cultures and things like that. And then once you learn these different things, it allows your eyes to be open to something new. So the fact that you were in different environments and around different, traditions of family dynamics and relationships, and, the way people handled their money, and, you know, things, did they family oriented type of things, right? And so, you saw that there were different ways of doing things, and you can get a different outcome than what you may have experienced in your household, or seeing how the family dynamic was, or relationships, and how they handle finances and things like that, handled, when they were under pressure, and how they communicated and stuff like that. So, saying that to say, you only had the capacity of doing things a certain way because you were only in this type of environment. Whereas as you got older, or different opportunities were in front of you, you were able to see different things. And so now you can come back to your environment and show different ways of doing things, and to get a different outcome. Because, sometimes people, even though they see they aren't getting a good outcome, they keep slamming their head into a brick wall. They feel like, well, you know, maybe I tweak it a little bit, and I should get a different outcome, knowing you didn't put in any type of work or try to do any communication or work on your mindset, or, you know, anything like that, any type of experience in doing things differently, but you trying to teach somebody something that didn't work for you. And you think they're going to get a different outcome. No, well, sometimes people will do this deliberately. They get a position of power, and instead of empowering the people that they were assigned to assist, they will sabotage the people, like give them wrong directions, or have them doing things that won't, increase in value, or, maybe sending them, somewhere that just wasted their time, or, not giving them a heads up, or like different ways of doing things in your environment, right? If you're supposed to be training somebody, but you training them all wrong, you teaching them all the bad things, or you just you're not really helping the person. You're discouraging them. You're not, as the elder, however old you are. And sometimes the youth can help the elders because, they so stuck on doing things their way that they aren't open to doing things differently, even though they see the outcome of doing things their way didn't get them accomplishing anything, where they don't want the younger generation to do better than them or like accomplish more goals or whatever. So they won't give them the blueprint and they'll have them out here struggling, you know, just to, I don't know, to just seem like they're still on top. Well, that doesn't make any sense, and then you have generation to generation of poverty and abuse and in and out of prison and in the dirt way before their time and things like that, just because you didn't want to educate the youth or show them different ways of doing things, or even educate yourself to be able to do different things to help you live longer, retain some of your success, have a peace of mind and a strong body and things like that. So, if you're in a position to where you have learned something that benefited you or helped you to live a longer, more peaceful life and, have love or wealth in your life, I feel like it's your duty to share that with others, even if it's just your smile, even if it's just you helping another person, that couldn't help themselves, even like the people you may find that are struggling on the street that don't, are asking for handouts. Not all people are just, taking, they are actually in bad situations, and just you showing them kindness may have changed their whole outlook of people who they have encountered of being selfish and not helping others. And now you come along and change their whole concept because you chose to do things differently, you know? So, try your best to live a life to where it is enriching to others and enriching to yourself, to allow you to live a longer life that's peaceful and full of love and abundance, which is not always monetary. Abundance could be a recouping of your time, it could be a peace of mind, it could be a relaxed nervous system, it could be a life of travel, just a life of just abundance and just happiness and joy within being grateful for what you have and just pouring that back out, to people to see that every way is not just one way like of doing things. If you see things that happen to you that were negative, and you experienced some stuff that like tore you down and made you broke or whatever, and you had an opportunity to show someone coming up, would you show them the same things that you saw that hindered you in life, or make that decision to say, hey, I'm gonna help this person, like I see you going this way, and that may end up being a wrong place for you to be, because maybe I chose that route and it landed me here. So maybe if you do something like differently, then you can retain some of the things that you worked hard in life, like, so you won't have to keep bumping your head and doing things over and over again. All right, y'all. Learn better, do better, and then share that knowledge to help somebody else. All right. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.